Python is a programming language, high-level programming language. So first of all, what is the programming language? Let me tell. So programming language we need for developing the OS or interfacing with the system and so on. So whatever development is going on in the OS or any applications, we have to do with the programmings. So there are so many types of programmings. Among them, Python is one of. So now, first of all, let me tell some outlines over it. What else we are going to know or learn about the Python. First we will see what is the Python, and after that how to use the Python or how to run the Python in the system, and the types and operators of Python, and some basic statements and examples of Python, and functions, scope rules, and some useful packages and resources. Now, uses of Python means why we are going to use the Python, and there are so many types of languages. We might heard of it like COBOL, C, C++, Java, and so on. So Python is also there. So obviously it has some features by which it is being popular day by day. First of all, Python is object-oriented programming. Now, what is the object-oriented programming? Now, if we see, there are different types of programmings like assembly programmings, like high-level programmings, like object-oriented programming. So, Python is the object-oriented programming. Now, what is the object-oriented? So, it is a one types of programmings, or we can say it is obviously a high-level program, and it object oriented. So there is some concept of class objects like this. So it is obviously a high level and very excellent types of programming approach that object oriented we are getting. So here we have to write less codes, and programming means there will be a number of codes and number of things we have to write. So obviously for smart programmings there will be reusability, there will be some smart things like object class. So in object oriented, if we use the object oriented programming, then we have to write less. There will be the scope of reusability, and there are so many features of object oriented programming. So object oriented programming means where we are doing the programs in focusing on the objects and class concept. And obviously there are something more like polymorphism, operation or operator overloading, multiple inheritance, all encapsulation, abstraction, all these are the different features of object-oriented programming. And in the world of programming, this object-oriented approach is very, very highly acceptable, and obviously very much easy to write and very much enriched according to developers. So apart from Python, there are also different types of object-oriented, but Python is being popular nowadays because it has one of these features, object-oriented. After second thing, it's the open source. So we know that the concept of open source is that it's free and easy to get. So that means we can easily get this from internet and we can use it. And another thing is that Python is portable. Portable means it has the capability to run in different types of platform. You can run it in a different ways. You can work with Python with integration with different types of database, even if NoSQL to RDBMS. So Python on that sense has a number of flexibilities which is making it more easy to make it more popular. And also Python is very powerful language, means it supports a various range of things. And it has dynamic typing, it has enriched libraries, and it also has so many tools which we can use for advanced levels of programming. Now, we will see how to install and how to work with Python. So we can, as I told, that Python is a very dynamic things, or it also supports the different types of platforms or ways. So we can work with Windows, we can work with different flavors of Linux, but here I am discussing in Linux. But anyway, we can install very easily. We are getting the Python codes or Python software from the internet. So according to your OS, if you want to install in Windows, you can use Windows, or if you want to install in Linux, anyway you can install it very easily. And in Linux we are getting Python by default with the distribution, or by default our DVD. So it is very easy to get Python in Linux. So after installing that one, if we simply write Python in our terminal, then only we will get the symbol. Here we can see, and that is the symbols of Python, means we are in the Python prompt and we can start the programming. Now Python is a very flexible means it doesn't has that much of strict syntax in. So from that point of view also we can say that Python is a very user friendly, means we don't need to bother that much with the syntax. If we made some changes or differently we are doing the syntax, then it's easy, or it will not show us any problems. Now here some examples we have, like print. Print is the options which is printing some values in the screen. Now suppose I want to install, or I want to print some particular strings. So I simply write here print and hello world. So it's just showing me hello world. Now there will be different types of datas or variables, like as we saw it is a string. Similarly we will see some variables or numeric variables. So suppose we take an array x is equal to 0, 1, 2, and if we want to see the contents of this particular variable, then we have to give only x, and then we will see that we can see the contents what else we declare there. And if we want to come out from this particular Python prompt, then we have to press Ctrl D. Now we will see some other types of particular examples with Python. Now as I told, Python is a object oriented programming, and in object oriented programming modules, some concepts are there. Modules is like some particular packages. So when we want to install, or when we want to work in a specific any particular thing, then we can insert the module. So it is also one of the big features of object oriented or modular programming. Here suppose we want to run one particular script. So there we can simply give Python and script.py. So we saw that when we are writing different types of programming, there will be different types of extensions, like C programming is .C, Java is .java, shell programming is .sh, like Python is using py. So now if we want to run a Python programming, then we have to write Python before that. So Python keyword is here the interpreter. So we know the what exactly the interpreter is. Interpreter or compiler, we need to interpret that particular high level language to machine level language to the kernel, and it will give us the answer, and it will again interpret it to the high level language. Now if we write that Python -i script 1, that also this I flag is going to keep the interpreter open after the script is finished writing. Now suppose we want some particular file to run, and there are different types of, in Python we will see there are different types of particular files or particular commands are there. Now if we want some file input or file reading operation, then we can use X file. So we can see here it's according to our requirements, we can work in a differently or in a different various range with Python. Now if we want to add some particular module to our programs, then we can use the import keyword. Now we will see, like suppose we write a script So before we saw that after opening the Python interpreter, we just write or giving some commands. Now, if we have a very big files or very big programming, then obviously we will create the files. So if we create the files, then we can reuse it in a different way or in a number of ways. Now we will see, suppose we write a programming with .py. So if we want to run it in shell programming, as we did bash and that particular program's name, or sh and that particular program name and .sh, similarly we are giving Python and script.py. So what else will be there under to my script that will be reflected here. Now, as like different types of programmings, Python also has some operators and variable types. Now here, if we see, Python has the features from different programming languages. It supports as object-oriented. It has some features from Fortran. It has some features from Bash also. Now, if we see, it is supporting a various range of variables. We know what is the variable. Variable is we need while we are programming. It's just a chunk of memory which we need to assign any particular value for our programmings. So now here we can see in Python there are different types of variables. Now in the variable types there are different types like integers, long integers, floating point numbers. So we can see here that it's supporting all types of programming. For an variable, for an instance, Bash is not supporting that bigger range of programming, but Python is supporting a various ranges of variables. Now we can see here, if you want to going with the different types of operators and with the floating points or numericals, then we can use in a different range. Now, apart from these types of numerics, it's also support that octal, hexa and complex numbers also. So you can see from here that normal all the other programming didn't support that number of various ranges of variables. Now, we will see some types and operators. So operators we need while we are doing any numerical programmings or numerical calculations or any comparisons things or any logical comparisons like that. So here we can see that there are different types of operators. First we see the basic 4 arithmetic operators like plus, minus, multiplication and division. Exponential operator is there, and also if we want to work in a numerical field, then obviously Python has some different packages like NumPy or SciPy, so that we need to import if we want to work in a various range or in a higher range of mathematical programming. Now, comparison operators, when we are going to compare two values, then obviously we can use greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, like this. And if we are going to compare two variables or two character variables or strings, then we need to use the logical operators like equal to, or not equal to, like that. It's also support the bitwise operators. So here we can see like bitwise operator, bitwise exclusive OR, and shift left or right. All types of operators is being supported by Python. Now we will see in the strings also. So different types of string operations is also being supported through Python, where we can use concatenation, where adding two strings or repetition of the strings. So that also supported by Python. Now we will see indexing and slicing. In indexing, we can use different types of arrays. So here Python starts indexing at 0. So suppose I have a string, so a string S will have indexes running from the length S minus 1. So from here we can, if we write, and it's also supporting the two-dimensional thing, means if we use S, I and J, then and from here if I give like suppose 1:4. So here it fetches element I inclusive through j, not inclusive. So here it's also supporting the multi-dimensional thing. So if I write string and if I give I is 1:4, then obviously it will take that first one is here the s, and from there the till fourth number, so TRI. So in a different way we can do the indexing and slicing. Now we will see the list. It is one of the different types of data types in Python. So now in the list is nothing but there we can just declare a number of set of data types. Now it's not mandatory that every data types would have to be same, so we can use a various ranges of data types also. Now here also we can see if we have in a L1 we are using normal your variables. In L2 we are using simply the strings. In L3 we are using different types of things. So it's very dynamic and we can use it in a different requirements. Now we will see in the some basic informations or basic examples is given with this listing. So it is also supporting the multi-dimensional thing. So now in indexing L1, L2 and L3 as I gave. So if I want to slice L3 or if I want to concatenate, then we can do it in a various different way. And we also can make it reversal, and there will be some different types of functions also to declare all these things. Now we will see the tuples. Tuples is also being used. Also it is one types of different data types here we are using. So now in tuples we are using or we are declaring here with the parenthesis. Now we can see here like T1 as we declared 0, 1, 2, 3. But T2 we declared as 0 and 1, so like this. So it's supporting a different types of things. Now here it's come array. So array is also very important things in the any programming languages. Normally array we are using where we have to work in a various set of operators. So we can use one-dimensional array, multi-dimensional arrays, anything else. And here we can see we have some similarities and some differences between arrays or list. They are mostly same, but they have some differences here. Now we will see after declaring or discussing about the variables and different types of arrays and lists, we will see some conditions, which is a very common approach in any programming languages. Like first it will come if else. So as similar like bash, we can see here that if else conditions where we are using with elif, we are using when we are giving the more conditions, and after that we are writing the actions and else. So if else is normally we are using in this way. Here we have some examples you can see from here, like we are comparing some particular values here. As I take x is equal to 2, y is equal to 3, and our list is 0, 1, 2. Now I am there if comparing it with 1 is greater than x or greater than is equal to 3, and in this way we can write or work with if else statements. Like this while will also come. While we are using when we are giving one conditions, and if the condition is matching, then the action will be taken. So like the other programmings also we can use different types of whiles and if else conditions. Now it's coming the for loops. In the for loops also we are using when we need to print a repetitive task, then we are using the for loop options or for loops for that. So this is the syntax of for loop where we are using for item I in set S, so action on item I. So I is the operator or particular repetitive operator, what else we are using here. Now we can see in a different way also, if we want we can work with list on the other things also if we using the for loops. Now if we want to combine two particular list or two statements, that also we can do here in Python. And after that it's coming the functions. Now in functions is a particular approach in programming language what we are using for doing any particular task. Rather than doing the particular thing in the same program, we can declare the functions, we can call the functions to the program, and we can write the programs over there. So this is also done here. So we are similar in a program. If you can see that we are defining a functions, and there we are giving some arguments. After the function body is there, what else we are going to do, and after returning some values. So like that, different types of functions we can use. So in this function we can apply, or we can give some assigning some variables also. Now there are different types of functions where we can set or we can add some particular standard inputs, standard outputs also, and sometimes we can check out in this way. Suppose we are declaring a function like definition f5 xy, so a is equal to x plus y, and b I gave suppose x minus y, so return will be a in exponential 2 or b exponential 2. Now after that, its function f5, and f5 is using 3 and 2, that is two variables, so it's giving me the values like 25 and 1. Now if we want some help from the documentations also, then, and help itself also a function, so from there also we can get the helps. And Python has obviously a very enriched library, so from there we easily can get the helps for any particular functions also. Now you can see there are some rules or different types of functions. Now normally there are in the libraries itself as giving us some built-in functions. So apart from that, as a user we can create some local functions, and also it's supporting some global functions. So if we want any particular work to do, some functions is inbuilt there, that also we can use for any particular specific task. Now there are different types of variables or examples are given. Now we will see some particular useful packages and resources here. Now like numeric, numpy or scipy, as I told before also, if we want we can give, or we can module, or we can add some particular packages or input some particular packages where we can add something more there. And here are some documentations and basic some list of books from where we can get help in the Python. Now Python is a very big range, or we can do so many things. Here as I discussed the very basic things in Python, but apart from this also Python has so many things in a different way or different level we need it. Okay, thank you.